No, if you got moles, your yard starts to look like this, right? And I'm telling you, I have tried all kinds of different things. The internet's just full of ideas on how to get these boogers. And sometimes everything you can think of just isn't enough. And if you haven't seen one of these things up close, here's one I just killed. Right? That little bugger there, and about 10 of his relatives, just this one bugger there did all this morning. Because I flattened these things down last night. And they say, if you want to try to salvage your yard, you want to go back over the trails whenever you can and push them down, flatten them out to save the roots of your grass, because that's what kills the grass. Now, like I said, I have tried everything, and this might seem a little cruel and inhuman, but there's this tactic that's called fishing, and it seems to work real well. And here's my fishing pole. Now, this little guy, it was painless, quick. Well, I won't say it was painless, but it was fairly quick because he didn't know it hit. And I know there's a second one down here somewhere, because when I was busy getting this one, I saw another clump of dirt pushing up. And that's how you fish. Is patience, part of the fishing part, is you're watching their handiwork, because they're looking for food. They're looking for worms and grubs. That's a fact. And in the process of doing so, they push up the ground onto the roots of the grass. And if you watch, you'll see the little bit of a tuft of ground push up. I mean, this is an example where, and as you stand there, the ground will kind of pulse and push and pulse and push a little bit. And they're quick, because the time I spotted that fellow over there in the grass, where he was busy working his business, he was over here somewhere, and I ran in and got my hoe and nailed him right there in that spot there. Got one in here pushing up right along the edge of the shed. There was a bunch of them back there. I got my trap back there trying to get another wood truck. That wood truck's wily. I don't think he likes the fruits. He's been eating mulberries, so we've tried since the 4th of July to catch him with no avail, and I'm going to change up my bait. I'll go to the store later today and see if I can't get mulberries or berries of some sort that maybe he'll be inclined, because I've been using watermelon and sliced apple, but no such luck. So there's that guy. And I'm going to switch we're going to the garage here in a minute, and I want to lay out many of the things that I've tried since the last 2 years since moving in here to get rid of these guys. If they would content themselves to just stay back here, I wouldn't be so inclined to worry about it, but they do the number on my yard something fierce up front, where the wife's got gardening and everything else. All right, so let's see what we got. All right. So the internet's full of ideas on how to get rid of moles and what to do about them. And one of the earliest ones I did last year was I tried gum. I tried putting sticks of gum in the ground. I tried putting castor oil. I got a little jar left of it somewhere here. I'm not sure. There they are. We've tried castor oil. Sorry for the blur. But you can see there's several bottles up there. So, castor oil. The problem with castor oil is you need so much of it. These things are expensive in small jars. I'm just saying, you need to buy it by the gallon, dilute it, and spray your yard on a regular basis, because supposedly the smell and taste is what bugs them. I tried smoke grenades or smoke sticks, all that does is let me know that there's more holes and tunnels because little wisps of colored smoke come up everywhere. I've also tried degassers. The gasser sticks don't work that well either, or have no effect that I've been able to tell, right? And the reason for that is that moles, their feeding trails are what you're seeing in your yard. Their living tunnels and chambers are much further down, and so the stuff just doesn't get in there. I've seen videos on where they hooked up a hose to the exhaust on a lawnmower, and I have yet to do that. But based on my experience with the gas and the smoke, I don't have any faith in it, right? So I bought the trap, and I have not caught anything with this trap. The downside of the trap is she sure wants your attention. Yes, you do. We fed you too. Is that first, they're awkward, and unless you're a master trapper, I just didn't have any kind of luck with them. You need to have a straight run, preferably a place where the moles will come and go on a regular basis. Then you have to set this thing just right so it will work. And I didn't have any noticeable effect with it. And the next device is this gizmo here. This is a solar-powered vibrating deterrent. Yeah, I want you to come down here for a minute. So the deterrent, well, it works for a brief window, but it's only good for like maybe a 3 foot. I don't care what the packaging says. I don't think all the moles disappeared within 3 or 4 feet of it. The mole tracks and tunnels and stuff, but they just moved around it. They got to where it wasn't bothering them, and eventually they got used to it. So we moved it around. We took time. We changed locations, and the moles would avoid that location, but they only avoided about a 3 or 4 foot diameter area. And unless you can afford to have 20 or 30 of these things in your yard, I don't think that they really are as effective as that they advertise. At least maybe I'm doing something wrong. And on the advice of some people at the Lawn and Garden Center, I seeded the lawn last fall and early in the spring with these granules. The idea being is that it kills the grubs and the worms and things that the moles live off of. Well, I still have not had any luck with it. We sprayed it, or we put out this stuff in the spring, and we went for about a month and a half with no mole sign. And then suddenly, like overnight, the entire front yard was just pushed up and now has all kinds of bald spots. When I put this in, I also put in it with a mixture of fertilizer and grass seed, so that we had a really nice lush green lawn in the front of the house for the first couple months of the spring. But after that, no luck whatsoever. So as you can see, I've tried these things and they didn't work well. Now, unfortunately, the gruesome part of what did work well, it doesn't sit well with myself and other people, but they do. But there's our neighbor cat, and she caught the only mole we know of last year. She managed to drag him up out of a hole and played with him until I got out there and thumped him with a club. This is how I got rid of most of our moles. Now, yeah. And I will bring that up here in a minute. I gotta go in that. But this is what you do when you're trying to multitask. The morning's actually very cool and nice. First time in a month that it's not like 80 out here at 9 in the morning with a huge humidity. So, trying to do a few things at once. They call this technique fishing, right? And I killed 4 moles in the past 6 weeks with my hoe. And I think I got a 5th mole, but I can't confirm it because I didn't actually see, the body. It's not a nice way to deal with them. I mean, but it seems about the only effective way that I have had any success with these things. Like I said, I have tried all these other things, and all I seem to be able to do is nail them with this. And the trick is, you go out, like I said, you go out to the yard, and you flatten those areas where the moles are operating. And in this case, I got 3 of the 5 up here under the center of our yard. We have a bird feeding station, of course, and they just will keep pushing the ground up. And so you go out and you would flatten this stuff, and just kind of sit there and watch. That's why they call it fishing. So we would watch from the window. I mean, we weren't dedicated, the wife and I weren't dedicated to actually sitting there and standing in a chair, sitting in a chair, watching the ground for movement. We would just watch. We'd look out the window occasionally, and if we saw one of the areas where they pushed the dirt back up, I would go out and I would bring the hoe with me, and I would just sit there or stand there for 15, 20 minutes and watch. And occasionally you'll see it, the ground will kind of move and jiggle and pulse as they're pushed. They're just below the surface, so they're looking for grubs and worms and other things to eat, and they're pushing up that sod. And once you get an idea where their movement is, you lay into it with the pointy end of the hoe. And I mean, I do lay into it. I give some pretty vigorous. Now, other people say, well, you're just doing as much damage to your yard as they are, and I will argue that is true. On the other hand, my goal is to eliminate them doing extensive damage to a large area of my yard, as opposed to just me hitting one area. Besides, the ground's already been damaged by them. I'm just taking advantage of this. Now, usually, I get them within the first 4 or 5 pretty meaty drives. This allows me to flick the body up and then dispose of it. And like I said, it's not a pretty thing. It's a bit gruesome. This will cut them in half, or partially. If you nick them in any sort, they're done for. And I think one of them in the back, I may have nicked it because I never did find the body. I spotted large movement out there by the shed in the first clip, and in the process, while I was laying into the first one, another spot near my feet started bouncing up and down, so I laid into it, but I never confirmed if there was anything in there. On the other hand, that same area has not shown fresh feeding signs in 2 weeks, so I believe that I probably nicked it, and it either died and I didn't dig it up, or it died and it escaped and died later. Right now, it's been about 2 weeks since I've seen any fresh mole sign, and like I said, I killed 3 of them over about a 2-month period in the front yard just with this method, and then 2 in the backyard, and for now it seems to have faded. So I don't know how many are congregating in the area, but I know this section of town is just rife with them, so I expect to see more. Hope this stuff is useful to you, and if I have anything else to add, I'll do another video in the future. Thank you very much.